The tale that unfolds goes beyond the conventional narratives, revealing an intriguing and lesser-known facet of the past that captivates the imagination and challenges preconceived notions. Today, we're talking about the Irish slave trade, a story that's been overshadowed but holds some serious jaw-dropping truths. Welcome to a world where the reality behind the Irish slave trade awaits, promising a narrative that transcends expectations and opens the door to historical revelations. The query regarding the Irish being the inaugural slaves in the Americas has ignited a spirited debate, disrupting established historical accounts. Slavery, an enduring facet of human civilization, manifested uniquely in Ireland, subjecting the Irish to a millennium of persecution, enslavement, and indentured servitude. The historical enigma serves as the focal point of exploration in Colin Heaton's inquiry. A former Marine Corps scout sniper and esteemed history professor, Heaton delves into the intricate timeline, nuanced circumstances, and far-reaching consequences of Irish enslavement. The contention revolves around whether the Irish predated the arrival of the more widely acknowledged African slaves, injecting complexity into the historical narrative. Ireland's tumultuous history, marked by recurrent episodes of oppression, has been overshadowed by broader discussions on slavery, prompting Heaton to bring this overlooked chapter to the forefront. His unique perspective, shaped by military experience and academic expertise, lends depth to the exploration of forgotten history. Heaton's comprehensive examination scrutinizes the multifaceted aspects of Irish enslavement, considering not only the temporal dimension but also the intricate socio-political dynamics that contributed to this historical phenomenon. By shedding light on the distinctive nature of Irish slavery, Heaton aims to challenge prevailing perceptions and foster a more nuanced understanding of the complex tapestry of human exploitation throughout the ages. In unraveling this forgotten history, Heaton endeavors to prompt critical reassessment and reevaluation of the intricate interplay between Ireland, slavery, and the shaping of historical narratives in the broader context of the Americas. The origins of Irish slavery can be traced back to the initial Viking raid in 795, a period that endured until the mid-9th century. During these early raids, the northern and eastern coasts of Ireland bore the brunt of Viking aggression as they engaged in pillaging and the enslavement of the Irish population. The larger towns and monastic centers, significant hubs of Irish life, became primary targets for the Vikings, resulting in the widespread enslavement of the inhabitants. This pattern of Viking raids persisted, with a notable shift occurring during the Battle of Clontarf in 1014. This pivotal event marked a turning point in Irish resistance against Norse raids, as forces led by Brian Boru, the High King of Ireland, successfully confronted and challenged the Vikings. The outcome of the Battle of Clontarf played a crucial role in curbing the influence of the Vikings in Ireland, bringing an end to the era of constant Norse raids that had long plagued the Irish population. Despite the hardships endured during this period, the Battle of Clontarf stands as a testament to the resilience and determination of the Irish people in the face of external threats. The defeat of the Vikings at Clontarf not only shifted the dynamics of power in Ireland, but also set the stage for subsequent historical developments, shaping the course of Irish history in the centuries that followed. In the 12th century, the Norman conquest left an indelible mark on Ireland, instigating profound transformations that resonated through the centuries. A pivotal outcome of this conquest was the termination of slavery within Irish borders. The Normans, having seized control, undertook the abolition of this practice, heralding a new era for the Irish populace. However, despite the cessation of slavery, the institution of serfdom endured, casting a long shadow over the socio-economic landscape for centuries to come. While the abolition of slavery marked a progressive step, the persistence of serfdom reflected the complex interplay of power dynamics and land ownership. The Normans, through their conquest, became instrumental in shaping the trajectory of Ireland's social and economic evolution. The alterations in land ownership and redistribution of power created a socio-political framework that would influence Ireland for the subsequent 800 years. The legacy of the Norman conquest unfolded through the lens of shifting social structures, while the eradication of slavery did not translate into absolute freedom. Serfdom, with its distinct characteristics of being bound to the land, maintained a firm grip on the lives of the Irish population. This enduring system, although different from slavery, continued to shape the realities and aspirations of the Irish people for centuries, leaving an enduring imprint on the historical narrative of the Emerald Isle. The Norman conquest thus stands as a pivotal juncture in Irish history, where the cessation of one form of servitude ushered in an era defined by evolving power dynamics and enduring socio-economic complexities. King Henry II's arrival in Ireland in 1171 signified a turning point in Irish history, heralding the beginning of a new era under English rule. The ensuing centuries witnessed a complex relationship between the Irish and their English overlords, characterized by tension and upheaval. This historical backdrop laid the foundation for a chapter in Irish slavery that would unfold in the centuries to come. The Battle of Kinsale in 1601 stands out as a defining moment as the Irish and Spanish alliance faced defeat at the hands of English forces. This military setback prompted English authorities to adopt a punitive approach towards the Irish population. In the aftermath of the battle, a policy of banishment and sale of Irish captives emerged, marking a grim turn in the fate of many Irish individuals. The defeated Irish and Spanish alliance faced dire consequences as the English sought to displace and profit from their captives. This strategic move aligned with broader colonial ambitions as the English authorities targeted the Irish population for economic exploitation in the burgeoning American colonies. The forced migration and sale of Irish captives reflected a dark chapter in the historical narrative, one where geopolitical conflicts shaped the destinies of individuals caught in the crossfire. In the wake of the Battle of Kinsale, the trajectory of Irish enslavement took a sinister turn, setting the stage for further exploitation and challenges that would resonate through the annals of history. The consequences of this pivotal period continue to be felt, underscoring the intricate interplay between military conflict, colonial ambitions, and the tragic legacy of Irish slavery. In the early 17th century, the initiation of Irish slavery in the Americas became a grim reality. King James I's issuance of the Order of Banishment in 1603 played a pivotal role in setting the stage for the coerced migration and sale of Irish captives to the New World. The first historical documentation of Irish slaves being dispatched to the Amazon River basin in Brazil occurred in 1612. This marked the commencement of a troubling trade that would unfold over subsequent years, witnessing the forcible transportation of tens of thousands of Irish men and women. The Order of Banishment, a decree with far-reaching consequences, not only facilitated the banishment of Irish individuals, but also paved the way for their sale as commodities in the Americas. The recorded voyage to the Amazon River basin underscored the beginning of a broader pattern, as Irish captives found themselves subjected to a transatlantic trade network. The trade, fueled by economic interests and labor demands in the Eastern American colonies and various Caribbean locations, became a dark chapter in the history of Irish migration. The year 1612 serves as a historical milestone, signifying the inception of a trade that would leave an indelible mark on the lives of Irish individuals, forcibly uprooted from their homeland. The forced migration and exploitation of Irish men and women during this period echo the broader patterns of human trafficking and slavery prevalent in the early years of European colonization in the Americas. The question of whether the Irish were indentured servants or slaves remains a subject of persistent debate. Official British legal terminology categorized them as indentured servants. However, the circumstances surrounding their transportation introduced complexities that challenged this classification. Coercion and force frequently played a role in the Irish experience, muddying the distinction between indentured servitude and outright slavery. The diverse range of individuals subjected to enslavement further complicates the delineation between these two forms of labor. Among those forcibly transported were political prisoners, vagrants, and convicts, each contributing to the blurred lines in defining the nature of Irish servitude. The prevalence of coercion in their transportation, combined with the broad spectrum of individuals affected, underscores the nuanced and often harsh reality faced by the Irish during this tumultuous period. The ambiguity surrounding the classification of Irish laborers reflects the broader challenges in interpreting historical records and legal terminology. As debates persist, historians grapple with reconciling the official designations with the lived experiences of those who endured forced migration and servitude. The convergence of political, social, and economic factors during this era further complicates the task of definitively characterizing the status of the Irish in the annals of slavery. In unraveling this historical enigma, scholars navigate the intricate web of circumstances that shaped the destinies of the Irish, shedding light on the complexities inherent in distinguishing between indentured servitude and true slavery in the context of Irish history. In the mid-17th century, a somber and unsettling chapter unfolded in the history of Irish slavery, casting a shadow over the Irish population. This period, occurring notably during the rule of Oliver Cromwell, bore witness to the brutal consequences of the English Civil War and the subsequent campaign launched by Cromwell against the Irish. The English Civil War, which erupted in 1642, set the stage for a series of events that would reshape the fate of many Irish individuals. As Cromwell emerged victorious in the conflict, his rule took a draconian turn, with severe repercussions for the Irish population. The aftermath of the war saw tens of thousands of Irish men, women, and even children subjected to a fate that would forever alter their lives. Cromwell's campaign against the Irish unfolded with ruthless efficiency, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. The forced enslavement of a significant portion of the Irish population became a grim reality. Families were torn apart, communities disrupted, and lives irreversibly changed as the English authorities implemented policies that led to the deportation of Irish individuals. The destinations for these forcibly displaced Irish varied, encompassing the West Indies, Virginia, the Carolinas, and New England. The systematic transportation of Irish captives to these far-flung regions became a widespread and troubling practice during Cromwell's rule. The West Indies, known for its harsh conditions on plantations, saw an influx of Irish slaves who were thrust into a life of forced labor and servitude. Virginia, the Carolinas, and New England, regions within the burgeoning American colonies, also bore witness to the arrival of a significant number of Irish slaves. These individuals, uprooted from their homeland under duress, found themselves thrust into unfamiliar territories, facing a life defined by labor and hardship. What distinguished this period of Irish enslavement was the inclusion of children among the forcibly deported. The young and vulnerable became victims of this tragic chapter, their lives disrupted as they were transported to the far reaches of the English colonies. The exploitation of Irish children in the West Indies, Virginia, the Carolinas, and New England added another layer of cruelty to an already grim tale. Historical narratives surrounding Irish slavery in the Americas are shrouded in ambiguity, as the exact numbers of Irish slaves continue to be a matter of dispute among scholars and historians. The absence of concrete evidence, compounded by the scarcity of records detailing contracts between the forcibly removed Irish and their benefactors, adds layers of complexity to the understanding of their status as either indentured servants or outright slaves. One of the primary challenges in unraveling the scale of Irish slavery lies in the lack of comprehensive records documenting the terms and conditions under which the Irish were transported to the Americas. The official British legal terminology employed during this period was indentured servants, a term that encompassed individuals who willingly signed indenture contracts to immigrate to the New World. However, this legal language fails to capture the nuances of a system that often involved coercion and force. The ambiguous nature of the historical record leaves room for speculation and differing interpretations. While some argue that the Irish may have entered into voluntary indentured servitude, others contend that a considerable number were forcibly transported, effectively rendering them slaves rather than willing participants in an indenture system. The lack of clarity surrounding Irish slavery extends to the broader socio-political context of the time. Political prisoners, vagrants, convicts, and individuals deemed undesirable by the English government were among those subjected to the enslavement. The indiscriminate nature of this practice further blurs the distinction between indentured servitude and slavery, complicating efforts to definitively characterize the experience of the Irish in the Americas. The scarcity of documented contracts between the Irish and those responsible for their transportation and servitude contributes significantly to the historical puzzle. Without clear evidence of voluntary agreements, it becomes challenging to assert the Irish were solely indentured servants. The prevailing barter system, which involved the exchange of Irish individuals for goods such as tobacco and cotton, suggests a coercive dynamic that aligns more closely with the definition of slavery. The debate over the status of the Irish in the Americas underscores the broader challenges in reconstructing historical narratives, especially those obscured by time, incomplete records, and differing interpretations. The complex interplay of economic interests, political motives, and the human cost of Irish migration to the New World requires a nuanced examination that acknowledges the limitations of available historical evidence. So this is all about today's video. Do like and share the video. For more terrifying videos, click the subscribe button on our channel. What do you think about this terrifying history of humanity? Share your thoughts in the comments and hit the subscribe button, then I'll see you on the other side.